Well, welcome back to our fourth episode of the Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I'm very, very excited to be getting back into this. I feel like I'm going to be saying this every single episode, but I feel like genuinely we're starting to ramp up. There are certain things that have been happening. Rachel Price may know more than she's leading on. Belle doesn't know who to trust at this point. Um, yeah, it's getting crazy. So let's jump into it. But before that, yes, Carla, thank you for reminding me. I was actually talking about the book with Matt because Matt has been watching the VODs back as well. Um, he was saying because I was talking about in the past installment, I was talking about my theories, right? And that maybe she might be gone girling herself or something. Matt was saying insane theory out the wazoo, but why not? Let's just throw that out there. He said, my personal theory is what if Ramsey is so desperate to become a good producer of a documentary that he kidnaps someone only to release them so that they can create the best reality TV show? Is that crazy? I literally looked at Matt and I was like, "You are insane." I I think that would be truly the wildest twist that this book could do. But I like it. I like it. He's thinking out of the box. He's not thinking of the usual suspects. He's going above and beyond. So we'll see. We shall see. Like I said, no one is safe from being sus. Exactly, koalas. The timelines don't add up. I don't think they do, Gina, cuz I don't think we know how old Ramsey is. But I can't imagine he would be old enough. I mean, well, he's older than Belle by a good bit cuz he's an adult, right? And so I don't know. I don't think they add up mathematically, but I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. I think Matt is on the right track, but I think it's either the dad or the uncle that did it. Or the grandma teamed up with Ramsey. Hint, maybe that's why she was early that one time. I like these ideas. I like these ideas, guys. I really do love reading this book together because it's very much like obviously when you're like reading books by yourself, especially mystery books, you're kind of like, oh, this person, that person, that person. But I feel like everyone reads or understands certain things differently and sees the world in a different way. So it's so fun to be able to see how you guys might perceive it. Like Matt was like completely left me dumbfounded when he was like, what if it's Ramsey? I was like, you're wild, but I like it. Either way, money is a motive. We know Rachel is from a rich family and Dad's family business was gone when Belle was a baby. Yeah. Yeah, money is a huge motive. I can't imagine there would be a different motive. I was telling Matt, okay, if we're still talking about conspiracies, I was telling Matt, what if it was like a postpartum, type of mental state? But I was like, she was 2 years old when this happened. There's no way that her mom still was in like the baby fog when this happened. Matt was saying, what if also she just ran away, which was kind of my thinking with the Gone Girl, where she ran away, had her money, and now her money's run out, and so now she just comes back. But in that case, why lie about certain details of your story if you're fabricating it? Because you've probably practiced this story over and over in your head. So I don't know. Matt and I were also talking about how, is it possible that the dude who was watching them for so long was actually the person who kidnapped Rachel? Like, is that a possibility? I don't know. They did hint at Ramsey asking him to come for the show and interview him or whatever. Will he make a reappearance? I have no idea. There's so many people that we've heard about at least like once or twice. Who's to say that we're leaving them out of the question? I would really, really hope it's not someone that we've just never met before, other than, oh, it's the dude who captured her. Like, sure, why not? But, I don't know. Yeah, I said that on the YouTube as well, why I like to bring him up otherwise. Yeah, no, literally, why, like, what's the point? Which I think I did say, like, it's like, why, like in books, like, it's like, why would you write something so intentionally for it to not have any payoff, you know? But yeah, we will learn more about these people. But yeah, let's go to get started with chapter 16. Get a cup of tea, get cozy, grab your pen and paper, and let's jump back in. Okay. Chapter 16. Ash was just leaving the hotel when Belle got to the door, almost slamming into him and his handheld camera, blinded by her own reflection. Whoa, hey, he cradled the camera. Ramsay will kill me if I break this. Let's spice up the documentary, Belle said, stepping back, clearing the way for him. A little vanilla if no one dies. You're in a good mood. He looked her up and down, and she did the same. Backward cap and burgundy overalls with a striped top. What are you doing? Nothing, she said. I just finished school. School's right there. I was walking past. What are you doing? She accused him instead. Ramsay's had a meeting all day, so he asked me to film some reaction stuff in town. How locals feel about Rachel's reappearance and all that. Just heading out. How do the locals feel? Belle asked, using Rachel's trick, starting to walk so Ash had to as well. Shocked, mostly. He shifted the camera to keep up. But pleased that the story has a happy ending. Happy ending, Belle muttered to herself. The police chief said it wasn't a true happy ending until the man who took Rachel was caught. So, if he didn't really exist, they had no chance. You don't think it does? Ash asked tentatively. Really? She laughed. You want to dig into my mommy issues? They just seem like the most pressing of your issues, he cleared his throat. It's just, I noticed you maybe weren't okay yesterday at the mall. If everyone thinks you should be happy and you're not, thought you might want to talk to someone about it, like an outsider. Ash was more than an outsider here. Different worlds. 3 older sisters and a mom he loved enough to ink on his arm. Should she try him? He could only be repulsed by her, and that would work in her favor too, finally pushing him away before he got too close and Belle started to think he cared. Nothing to lose either way. And no family landmines to tiptoe around. No one who thought they knew Belle better than she knew herself. I think Rachel is lying, she said bluntly, watching for a reaction on his face. Right, he bit his lip, but Belle wasn't sure what that meant. Lying about what? About her disappearance. Her reappearance too. Where she's really been the last 16 years. Ash's eyes flickered, screwed against the breeze of a passing truck. And why do you think that? Was he giving her a chance? Belle took it, speaking quickly before he took the chance back. She's messed up a couple of times, got details in her story wrong. She told me that the man left the engine running when he let her go on that road, but she told my dad that the engine was switched off first. She accidentally said she was locked up for 15 years, not 16. You would remember that number, right? If it were true? And yesterday at the mall, she knew about a bracelet I used to have. I threw it in the river years ago, after my friend... Anyways, the only proof that the bracelet ever existed was on an old photo on my Instagram. Rachel hasn't been on the internet since she's been back. There's no way she could have seen my Instagram in those 48 hours. She wouldn't even know what Instagram is. She must have seen that photo some other time. Which means she can't have been locked in a basement until Saturday morning. And the other thing? That man kept her all that time, but then just let her go without an explanation. And she can't provide a detailed description of him. And she paused, testing out his eyes. I guess I can just feel it, that there's something wrong. She's not telling the truth. Ash cupped his fingers around his chin, pulling his head into a nod. Okay, he said. Okay? Belle asked him, uncrossing her arms. You're not going to tell me I'm wrong, that I'm overreacting, that things are supposed to feel strange, or I'm pushing her away because I have latent abandonment issues? Ash pushed his lips together, not quite a smile. Why would I do that? You're absolutely terrifying. Thank you, Belle bowed her head. So you do believe me? The knot clenched, and she waited. Yeah, he said. So simple, not even a full word. But God, she needed to hear that. A feather-light feeling in her gut, raising her onto her toes. He believed her, or at least he said he did, and that was good enough for now. Someone on her side, as unlikely and ridiculous as he was. A family of 4 passed them on the sidewalk, all staring, not trying to disguise their curiosity. Harmonized noisiness. That bright boy who dressed like a clown and the daughter of Rachel Price. Outsiders, but outsiders on the same side. If she is lying, Ash said when the coast was clear, she'd have to have a motive, right? For disappearing in the first place, and then reappearing after 16 years? If they were both orchestrated. I don't know, Belle said, the first time she could reason it to herself, out loud, using Ash as a brick wall for her thoughts. If you managed to disappear so successfully that everyone thought you were dead, what could be your motive for coming back and risk being exposed? I guess the thing behind most things. Money, Ash said, holding his camera in the crook of his elbow. But what money? Belle gestured with her empty hands. I don't know, Ash replied, the words trailing up at the end, like they were leading somewhere. Not a shutdown like Belle's usually were. Rachel had a meeting with Ramsey today. Contracts for her to participate in interviews and filming. She wouldn't agree to sell her life rights until Ramsey offered up a lot of money. She negotiated some back-end stuff, too. That's smart. Belle stalled, thinking, how much money? I don't know the exact figure, but a lot more than your dad's contract. I'm guessing that's because she's the subject, and with her return, Ramsey knows the documentary will definitely get picked up by a broadcaster. In fact, he's having Zoom meetings with all the big ones today. A knot in Belle's head, to match the one in her gut, writhing as it spewed out questions and scenarios. Seems convenient, she said, that a film crew just happened to be making a documentary about her when she returns from the dead. What impeccable timing for both parties. Where's Ramsey? She turned on Ash. In the conference room, still in meetings. Why? Belle pointed to his camera. Can I borrow this? Yeah, sure. He handed it over, heavier than she expected. No flinch when their fingers touched. Belle took off, back towards the hotel. Ash pattered after her, confused. Actually, wait. Panic rising in his voice. Why did I just do that? Give it back, mate. It's expensive. Don't worry, I won't drop it or smash it in a rage. She approached the main door. Why would you say that? That sounds exactly like the kind of thing you would do. Ash followed her inside the hotel lobby, anxiously chewing his thumb. How do I record? She asked, heading towards the conference room. Give it back! Where are you going? Ash hissed. Don't be a buzzkill, mate. I'm guessing it's this big red button here, unless that's self-destruct. She pressed it, and the image came in the viewfinder on the side recording. She made an explosion noise, pushing air around her cheeks, pretending to drop the camera to enjoy the raw look of alarm on Ash's face. Too easy, she told him. He was supposed to be able to match her. She pushed the door open with one arm. What? Ramsey's face emerged from behind a MacBook on the table. Ash, I told you I was in meetings. You're lucky I literally just finished one. All her, Ash said, a double point in Belle's direction. Hello, Ramsey, Belle said brightly, watching his face in the viewfinder, moving from surprise to confusion. Remember how I told you to take care of that camera, Ash? He said. Yeah? Ash scratched his hair under the cap, raising it up, elongating his head. I accidentally gave it to Belle. Why? Because she asked. You're always sticking cameras in my face, Belle said. My turn. How was your day? She smiled, stretching it beyond a grin. Ramsey widened his eyes. Good, actually. Had some exciting conversations with broadcasters. Everyone is desperate for the doc, now that Rachel has returned. We've officially changed the name, too. The Reappearance of Rachel Price. He outlined the title with his fingers, drawing it in the air. Imaginative, Belle said. Nice alliteration. That's what I thought. All the execs, too. Just got off a meeting with the big red N, if you know what I'm saying. Belle did, but she rearranged her face like she didn't. Starts with N, Ramsey said, getting to his feet. Ends in Etflix. Sorry, never heard of it, Belle replied with a frown, disarming him before she jumped in. Her trick worked. Ramsey shook his head and smiled at his feet. Gosh, she was lovably infuriating, wasn't she? A girl like that couldn't possibly be smart, too. What do you want, Belle? He stared down the camera, sensing something. Just thought it was your turn to answer some questions. A reverse interview. Okay, I'll bite. Ramsey leaned against the table, crossing his legs. He'd put on a crisp blue shirt for the big red N. What'd you want to ask me? It's more of a comment than a question, Belle replied. Just thinking about the incredible confidence that you were making a documentary about Rachel's disappearance, and then she miraculously comes back from the dead midway through your shoot. Great before and after material, and all the broadcasters want it, probably throwing money at you, which is fantastic because both you and Rachel profit from that. What convenient timing. Suspicious, a more cynical person might say. Ramsey pressed his lips together. He knew Belle was that more cynical person. Go on, he said, pushing her, almost like he was enjoying it. Did you and Rachel work together to orchestrate her reappearance so you could both cash in on the media storm? You were probably desperate, right? After your last documentary didn't sell and no one ever wanted to see it? Ramsey winced. That last point had stung him a little. No, Belle, we did not, he said softly, a look on his face that was both scolding and impressed, in real life and the miniature version in the viewfinder. I did not orchestrate anything. The first time I met Rachel Price was when I knocked on your door Sunday morning. I had no prior contact with her. I didn't even know that was a possibility. Honestly, Belle, I thought she was dead, like you did. 100%, no doubt in my mind. Rachel Price was dead. I'm as shocked as the rest of the world that she's back. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing to be here to witness it. And Rachel, she was locked in a basement until 3 days ago. She couldn't have come into contact with anyone to orchestrate anything. Right, Belle said, so it's just a coincidence. Ramsey shrugged. They happen. He studied her with interest, so different from the shallow way the locals stared. Reading, not just seeing. Prying with his filmmaker eyes. Why? Do you think your mum wasn't locked in a basement for 16 years? I'm asking the questions here. I'm the one with the camera. It shook in her hands. Interesting, Ramsey said, running his hand over his jaw. Why do you think your gut reaction is to think your mum is lying, Belle? It isn't, she said. Is it less painful for you to think she had control, that she left on purpose, and came back for a reason? Stop asking questions. I'm asking questions, Belle breathed in. Why did you choose Rachel, then? Why did you choose us to be your next subject? Honestly, Ramsey said, crossing his legs the other way, glancing at Ash, I hadn't really heard of the Rachel Price case before. I know it's a big deal here, but, America has a lot of murders and missing people. I only started looking into it last year when I was in Maine. I tweeted something miserable about having to abandon the shoot on my last doc. Someone replied that the Rachel Price case would make an interesting documentary, if I was looking for my next idea. I googled it out of spite, and the rest is history. So it's all down to that random person in my comments. No conspiracy here, yeah? We cool? But let's get back into why you wanted there to be one. No, let's not, Belle said sharply, dancing with him now. And in all your research, have you found anything that contradicts what Rachel says happened to her? Ramsey studied her again, and she wished he would stop doing that. He could psychoanalyze her, but she could do it right back. Go for the jugular. Make another comment about his failed documentary. I mean, he said, we're interviewing her tomorrow and Thursday, so I don't have her whole story yet, or the story as far as law enforcement will allow, but no, as far as I can tell. There are no contradictions, no reasons not to believe every word. Well, unless you count all those imaginary sightings across the years. Paris, Brazil. Ramsey laughed, a breathy dismissing sound. Wait, Belle stopped him, searching her memory. You said there was a recent sighting, one in New Hampshire. Where was that? Who was it? Really? Ramsey asked. Really, she replied. Okay, he gave in, slapping his thighs. Belle followed him with the camera as he returned to his laptop, clicking and typing. It was in North Conway, he said. Let me just search my documents for that. Yep, North Conway. A woman named Alice Moore. She posted on Facebook in January that there was someone in her store who she swore was Rachel Price. Where can I find her? Belle asked. What's the store called? She's the owner of a small independent clothing shop, he said, checking his notes. Called Ba Boutique, but cool. Belle stepped forward to place the camera, still recording on the table, trapping Ramsey's inside it. Text the address to Ash. Eh? Ash sighed at the sound of his own name. Belle, Ramsey began. I'm not sure you should... Come on, Ash, Belle said, slapping him on the back. Let's go. You're driving. I'm... What? He looked aghast. But I don't have a... Here, Ramsey said, changing his tune suddenly, a new light in his eyes. He dug in his back pocket and threw a set of keys across the room. Ash caught them clumsily, gaze darting between the two of them, deer in the headlights. Drive on the right-hand side, remember? But, Ash, they both said. Belle, waiting by the door, clapping her hands impatiently. Take the camera, Ramsey hissed, bundling it up and pressing it into Ash's chest, a wink he thought Belle couldn't see. A whispered, Steady hand, make sure you frame the shot. Oh, okay, Ash stammered, catching on. Wait, Ramsey darted back to the table. Release forms. People have to sign these, he said, shoving a few into Ash's hand. Have you got a pen? I've got a frickin' pen, Belle said. Now let's go before I change my mind. Frickin' thank you. That's chapter 16. I can't believe that we immediately hit Matt's theory, like, head on. That was genuinely not scripted. Genuinely did not know what was coming in this set of chapters. Well, that is good to know. Shout out, Matt. If you're listening to this on the YouTube, which I'm sure you will be at some point, I'm really sorry that your theory was not right. I can't believe we talked about it so early in the story. That's crazy. Money is always involved. Gina, you clocked that too. Not as low-key, like clocking exactly what we talked about in this chapter. That's so crazy. The question is gonna be, if it is Rachel who made herself disappear, the question is going to remain, why? And then why did she come back? That's gonna be the biggest thing. The motive is the most interesting thing to me. Is there someone who paid them? Is there a fake Rachel Price? I don't know, Koala. That's an interesting thought. I don't know. I swear, I love this book so much, but I feel like it gives us little sprinkles of like, ooh, this is what's happening, and then immediately is like, just kidding. You thought. Like, you know what I mean? And like, we're not even halfway through it, and I feel like we're constantly gonna be like grasping for straws, and the book is just gonna keep like ripping them from us until like the very end. I feel like I feel like the crux of the story is going to be, if that's even the right word to use, I feel like Rachel's gonna have to choose between her parents. That is what I truly believe the author is setting up, because she adores her dad. He was the one that stayed, right? So in my mind, I feel like something is going to happen. Her view of her father is going to be shattered, and she might have to choose her mom. Is that too crazy to say? I don't think that's crazy. That's just kind of what I'm thinking, because they keep hamming up her relationship with her dad. Like, we have our traditions, we have this, we have that. Like, you know, my dad says something, that's right, that's how it is, you know? I feel like the story is going to make her choose, the author, you know, whatever. I feel like she has to choose between one of her parents. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad, you know? I just truly don't believe there's going to be a happily ever after with the three of them at the end. And that makes me really sad, and I don't want that to be true. But I don't... Ow, that was my neck. But like... Sorry. But like, do you guys feel like you can see this family living happily ever after at the end? I don't think I can. Something is wrong about both parents, and I feel like she's gonna have to pick one of them. But I don't know who. I can't imagine them being happy together. At least not truly. It could also be that they end up being happy together, but no one's truly happy in this family dynamic, you know? She might have come back home, and then, you know, for media's sake, they're all gonna stay together, but they're all kind of upset behind closed doors. Okay, I am loving where this plot is going, where like Ramsey is like, hey Belle, do your own investigation if you need to. Like, I love that Ramsey was just like, I like this kid, do your thing, prove what you gotta prove. I'm really, really excited. Okay. Let's jump back into it. Okay. Chapter 17. Horns and hey, watch it! As Ash pulled off the main road into a parking spot by the North Conway Library. American roads are hell, he said, waving an apology out of his window, turning off the engine. To be fair, Belle said, you're a terrible driver. He glared at her, pulling his cap back on. To be even more fair, you're a terrible passenger. Could give a bit more warning before yelling at me to turn. Well, that wouldn't be fun. Belle grabbed the backpack between her legs and opened the car door. You're something else, Ash muttered under his breath, though he never specified what that something else was, climbing out the other side. He collected the camera from the back seat, running his fingers over the fluff of the microphone and checking the battery. Then he grabbed his bag, one of those mini leather backpacks. It looked stupid on him. Nice bag. My mom's, he said. Get the best hand-me-downs from her and my sisters. Belle nodded, eyes wide and unkind to contradict her smile. She'd never had or given hand-me-downs. Only hand-me sideways to Carter when they were kids and Belle outgrew her jeans. They crossed the road, Belle looking ahead at Baba Boutique, a quaint storefront. Wooden slats paint seaside white and blue, though the sea was a very long way away. Next door to a store called World Magic Gifts, with window displays full of dream catchers and antlers, sculptures that stared at Belle and Ash as they approached. Ash pressed record on the camera, centering the shot on Belle, panned up to show the name of the boutique and the little sheep logo. Don't you need to say action or rolling or something? Action or rolling or something, he said with a lopsided grin. Belle pushed open the door, a small bell jangling above her head, not holding the door for Ash, letting him struggle with it. She walked past a rack of clothes, a cropped yellow t-shirt at the front, reading Pugs, Not Drugs, with a sad, chubby pug in the middle. The kind of thing Ash would probably wear. She turned back and caught him eyeing it, reaching out. Focus, she hissed, batting his fingers away. We're not here to shop. You just look so sad, little guy. Ash stuck out his bottom lip. Needs a loving home. Belle rolled her eyes at the camera lens, the two of them in cahoots, right under Ash's nose. She led them up to the register, where a woman in her 40s was writing out labels, wearing a white and blue striped top that matched the front of the store. Welcome to the Baba Boutique, she said, bored, glazed behind the eyes until she saw Ash. Then she straightened up and lengthened her neck, pushing her dark hair to one side. How may I help you? She asked him. We're here to see the owner, Alice Moore, Belle said, failing to get the woman's full attention back from Ash. That's me, she said, smiles forming around her mouth as she finally noticed the camera in his hands. We're filming for a documentary, Belle explained. The disappearance of Rachel Price? Ash coughed. Actually, the reappearance of Rachel Price now. Oh, the news. It's amazing, really. Alice trailed off, finally looking at Belle, eyes circling. But you look so much like... You must be... Belle let Alice stutter, left her and her aborted sentences hanging there. Yes, this is Belle, Ash stepped in, Rachel's daughter. Oh, sweetie, Alice gave Belle her full attention now. You must be so happy to finally have your mom back home with you. Yeah, I must be, Belle said, leaving another awkward gap for Ash. Could I get you to sign one of these release forms? He said, pulling one out of his comically small backpack. To consent to having your face and voice in the documentary. Yes, of course. Alice took the form, signing it after one quick glance without reading it, handing it back. Though I'm not sure why you're filming me. I don't even know anyone who knows Rachel. Actually, Belle said, taking charge, we're here to talk to you about something you posted on your Facebook in January, that you thought you saw Rachel Price here in your store. Oh, yes. Alice dropped her face, a breathy laugh, letting them in on the joke. Obviously, I was wrong. It couldn't have been her. Now we know where poor Rachel really was. But could you tell us about the sighting? About the woman you saw? Even though we now know it couldn't have been Rachel? Belle pushed. The woman narrowed her eyes. I don't understand. You know, Belle pulled back, speaking behind her hand like they were old friends. That was how old friends spoke, right? It's just filler for the documentary. Some background stuff to pad out the juicy bits, show how widely known Rachel's case was before she came back. Belle didn't leave her any more room to not understand, pushing again. This woman might have the answers that unlocked Rachel's lies, and Belle was going to get them. So what can you tell us about the woman you saw? Alice paused to clear her throat. I mean, I couldn't see a lot of her. Maybe that's why I convinced myself it had to be Rachel. She was wearing a mask, you know, a surgical mask, a COVID mask, so I could only see her eyes, really, and she was wearing a beanie. It was freezing out. Her hair was long, though, almost down to her waist, a darkish blonde, like Rachel's when she disappeared. We didn't interact much, just when she came up to the register. There was nothing remarkable about it. But I looked at her eyes, and I just had this thought, like, oh my goodness, she looks like Rachel Price. I didn't say anything, and I kicked myself later when I convinced myself it was her. I had to tell someone, just in case, so it didn't feel like a secret. So I put it on Facebook. Although now I would be kicking myself if I'd said anything to her, because it clearly couldn't have been your mom. Sure, Belle said, but she didn't mean it, because it was possible that that woman might just have been the real Rachel Price, and who was supposed to kick themselves then? But if it was Rachel, Belle needed proof. Evidence. Do you have any cameras in the store? Would they have recorded this woman? Yes, Alice said. I checked the footage the next day to see if I was going crazy. Can we see the footage? Belle pressed. I don't have it anymore. It gets written over every week. Belle deflated. But I took a screenshot of the clearest image when she was standing right where you are now. Not the best quality, but it might still be on my phone. Hold on. Belle and Ash held on, exchanging looks while Alice pawed at her screen. Sorry, a lot of my puppy, she said, swiping up. Oh, here it is. She held out the phone to show them the photo, Ash zooming in on it, then out to catch Belle's reaction. She crouched closer, squinting her eyes. A woman in a dark puffer jacket and a mask, hair a similar color to Rachel's, long enough to catch in the crook of her elbow as she readjusted her mask, frozen that way. You couldn't see much of her face, the beanie covering where the birthmark might be. It could have been Rachel, but there was nothing that counted that out, using the mask and hat as a disguise, blending in plain sight. Or it could just be another pale woman with the same colored hair. They weren't in short supply around here. Could you airdrop that photo to me? Belle said. Please, Ash added for her. Alice stared blankly. I don't know what that means. Here, Belle said impatiently, taking the phone out of Alice's hands. She pressed the blue spiral button, waiting for it to find her, then clicked to accept the photo on her device, handing Alice's phone back without looking. Thank you, Ash filled in again, but Belle was only half listening, zooming in on the pixelated face, barely a third uncovered. It was impossible to tell for sure, her gut swaying between yes and no. There was only one way she wanted to push it, but if this was Rachel, what was she doing here? Did she come up to the register? Belle asked, but that wasn't her real question. Did she buy something? Alice nodded, like that was answer enough. And? Belle said, annoyed that she had to. What did this woman buy? Just 2 things, if I remember right. Alice rubbed her face like Belle's gaze had burned her. Oh, if only. She paid in cash, even though we have a sign saying we prefer card. She paused to point at a printed sign. I think she bought a pair of jeans and a top, that was all. Belle's ears pricked. So did the ball of tension in her gut, listening in. What kind of top? A plain long-sleeve top. Red, I believe. I don't do boring colors. Belle's heart picked up. A red long-sleeve top, she said, repeating it to make sure she heard right. Yes. And were the jeans black? I think so. Bit more versatile than blue, isn't it? Can wear them in the evening, too. Belle stalled, thinking it through. Alice didn't realize what she'd just said. Maybe she only recognized Rachel Price from that one photo, the one they'd used on the missing posters in the news. Rachel wearing a white shirt. She couldn't see the significance of a red long-sleeve top and the pair of black jeans. The clothes Rachel was wearing when she disappeared. The same clothes she had on when she reappeared, falling apart, tattered and stained. Belle? Ash asked, not understanding her pause, or understanding it and checking that she was okay. Belle ignored him. Do your items have labels in them? Of course, Alice beamed. Baba Boutique. Too good a name to not put in all the clothes. Can I help you look for something, sweetie? Is it for your mom? Belle didn't speak, so Ash did again, awkward and shuffling. I like that pug shirt. Actually, we need to go, Belle said, holding on to Ash's overalls to spin him around, camera getting an undershot of her chin. Bye, thank you, bye, she called behind her, falling into the door, the bell clattering above them, frenzied and shrilled. They didn't speak until they reached the car, and Belle realized she'd been holding on to him all the way. She'd let go and they climbed in. Ash was still recording. Camera pointed at her from his lap. What? He sniffed. Did you think it was her? I thought the photo was too blurry to tell for sure, and she's still covered up. No. Yes. No, Belle said, unsure which word should come first. Yes, the photo isn't clear. Could be her, could not. Obviously had to have cut off her hair since, but the things she bought? Red top and black jeans? He asked, unsure. Ash, no offense. Well, a bit offense. Have you been paying any attention to the documentary you're making? She rounded on him, the camera barrier between them. Those are the clothes Rachel was wearing the day she disappeared. The same clothes she was wearing when I found her walking home on Saturday. Dirty, ripped, full of holes. Like she'd been wearing the same clothes for the past 16 years. Except, what if she hadn't? What if that's just what she wanted it to look like? Ash's eyes changed. So you're saying, I'm saying, what if she no longer had those original clothes she just appeared in? She would have needed to buy some as similar as possible for her grand planned reappearance. If so, then it's possible that was her here in January, close by, but in disguise. A COVID mask? That could explain how she's been moving around, at least for the past 4 years, hiding her identity. Could you distress a top and jeans that much? Get them to rags in just a few months? Probably, Ash said, if you were motivated enough. But it's not, solid evidence what that lady remembers that unknown woman buying. Belle knew that. She knew she'd need more. Something more concrete if she was going to expose Rachel as a liar. Convince Dad and the police. But this was stronger than a coincidence, she was sure. She could allow one fluke, the timing of the documentary and Rachel's return. But she couldn't allow another. The clothes meant something. A match lit under her, burning in her belly. Proof enough that her gut feeling had been right all along. "Tell me what you're thinking," Ash said. "I think you sound like Ramsay," she replied, a surge of new energy climbing up her spine. She rolled her head to let it out, cracking her neck. "I don't know about her disappearance yet, but it's starting to look like Rachel planned her own reappearance, that she's been back for more than just a few days. Which means the basement can't be real, the man can't be real, and for some reason, she wants the world to think they are." She hesitated. "Does that sound crazy?" Ash shook his head. "No, I mean, you are definitely crazy, but not for that." She smiled at him, a real one that she didn't think twice on. "Mate, I reckon we did an all-right job back there, you and me," he said, scratching his nose. "The old good cop, bad cop routine." "Which one's the bad cop?" Belle asked, still smiling on purpose this time. Ash gaped at her. "Come on, seriously?" That's chapter 17. Oh my gosh. Chapter 18. Belle wasn't smiling anymore when Ash dropped her home. Rachel had taken Dad's spot, her new car parked in front of the garage where his truck lived. The truck was nowhere, so Dad wasn't home from work yet. Great. No Dad, but CNN, NBC, ABC, and Fox were all here. "I guess I'll see you," Ash said as she climbed out. "I guess," Belle said, as I'm contractually obliged to. "Always a pleasure, Belle." He flattened his hand, saluting her as she'd shut the car door. Trying to outsass her, she'd show him next time. Belle tramped up the front door, ignoring the 4 floating reporters shouting questions at her, protected by their property line, an invisible border they weren't allowed to cross. She pretended sound couldn't cross it either. Belle eyeballed Rachel's car. 3 days back, and she was already taking over, muscling the rest of them out, claiming territory. Belle had made progress today, an ally, a clue, but not nearly enough. She'd need more evidence than that to reclaim her home from Rachel Price. But because that was what it would come down to, wouldn't it? One or the other. She slotted her key into the lock. At least she had her bedroom, the last safe space that Rachel couldn't claim. She'd go there right now, shut herself away until Dad got back, pretend she had homework. Belle opened the door, holding her breath, preparing to face Rachel again, though she never felt ready enough. The hallway was clear. Belle locked her jaw and walked through to the living room. Rachel wasn't here either, or in the kitchen, though the oven was on, rattling in that way it did. Was Rachel not home? Maybe she went out on a walk? Something sparked in her gut, that instinct you got in an empty house to call out, make it unempty. But Belle pushed the feeling down, overrode it. Why would she call out for Rachel? She didn't want to find her. This was a lucky break. She could go hide in her room without having to make excuses. She started up the stairs, skipping the one that creaked. She paused at the top. The door to the spare room, it was important to think of it like that, not as Rachel's room, was open, and it was empty. The bathroom door was closed, though. No sound of running water, but maybe Rachel was in the bathtub? Belle lightened her steps, tiptoeing now, just in case. She didn't want Rachel to know she was home, force her to reappear again. She reached her bedroom door and nudged it open. Someone gasped, and Belle caught it too, sealing off her throat, coughing through it. Rachel was standing in her bedroom, by the bookshelves. "Oh, Anna!" Rachel said, her gasp breaking into a shy laugh. She'd been holding a book, now clutched in front of her heart like a shield. "I didn't hear you come in." That was because she wasn't supposed to. And she wasn't supposed to be here, in Belle's room, in her safe space. Belle dropped her backpack to the floor with a heavy thunk. "What are you—" she began, unsure how to end that question, because "what are you doing here" went much deeper than just her bedroom. "Sorry," Rachel said, feet shuffling on the carpet. "I was looking for a book. Carter said you're a big reader. I thought I could borrow one. Hope you don't mind." Belle did mind, and right this second she didn't know how to pretend otherwise. Rachel had thrown her off, being where she shouldn't, heart thudding against Belle's ribs, fight or flight fast. Rachel held up a book in her hands, spinning it till the jacket flapped like trapped wings. "This is a good book," she said. Belle recognized the green of the cover, The Memory Thief. It was one of her favorites, had been all her life. "One of my favorites," Rachel said then, stealing that from her as well. "It's okay," Belle said, "bit boring in the middle." Rachel glanced down at the book, fingers running over the sharp corners and ridges of once folded pages. "Did someone give you this book, or—" she said stilted, trying to make conversation. Maybe Belle had thrown her off too. No, I bought that copy a few years ago. Grandpa used to read it to me when I was a kid. I wanted to read it again myself, as a not kid. That's sweet. Rachel slotted the book back into the empty space on the shelf, recompleting the row. That your grandpa used to read to you. He started when Dad was in jail, for your murder, Belle said, finding her footing again, stepping forward. Rachel nodded, chewing on her secret thoughts alone, face guarding them close. I should go visit him. Charlie's dad. He probably won't remember you much, Belle said, scoring points where she could. He's forgotten who me and Carter are, and we've always been here. Rachel chewed harder, the inside of her cheek, then she blinked, changing her face. You just missed her. Carter was here. She's very sweet, isn't she? Couldn't stay for dinner, but she helped me set up my new phone, actually. All done, just have to practice using it. She moved her hands behind her back, hiding them. A click on her shoulder. I know you were too busy yesterday, but it's done now, anyway, and she put your number in for me. Thanks, Carter. I'll text you, so you have my number, Rachel continued. You can call me any time. You know that, right? Any time. Sure, Belle said. Any time. Just not the last 16 years. The years people tended to need their moms the most. Belle stepped forward again, clearing the doorway. She wanted Rachel to leave, though she wasn't sure her bedroom would ever feel safe again now. Rachel's mark left behind on everything she'd touched and looked at. How long had she been snooping around in here? Had she sat on the bed? Had she opened the nightstand drawer, or the closet? Had she found Belle's collection of stolen things? I'm filming my interviews the next 2 days, Rachel said, finding something else to say. Another reason to stay. Cool. I called Ramsey, actually, tried out my new phone. She rubbed one eye. He had an idea. For us to have a big family meal on Friday night, the whole family. Us, Jeff, Sherry, Carter, my mom, your grandpa too, and the caretaker. What's his name again? Jordan. Ramsey will organize caterers to come in, so we don't have to cook. You can help me pick the menu if you like. They'll film the dinner for the documentary. That'll be fun, won't it? All of us together again. Fun wasn't the word Belle would have gone with, but at least the house would be busy, full of voices, not this uncomfortable give and take alone with Rachel. It'll be nice to have everyone around. Rachel smiled at her. We could ask for anything. Steak? Paella? Dad doesn't like shrimp. He got food poisoning one time. The smile faltered on one side. How was your extra credit thing? Rachel asked. It was fine. Ramsey mentioned he saw you today, after school. Rachel said. Frick. Belle might have caught Rachel in some of her lies, but she was about to catch her back, unless Belle thought fast. Oh yeah, I went into the hotel, Belle said, making it up as she went. I had 5 minutes before the meeting, and I remembered I'd left my scrunchie there when I filmed my interview. Went to check if it wasn't lost and found. Convincing enough. No holes, unless Rachel really went looking. Rachel nodded. Any luck? No luck. Ramsey wouldn't have told Rachel what they talked about, right? That Belle was onto Rachel, starting to unpick her lies? No, he wouldn't. Belle could tell from the light in his eyes. He'd seen opportunity in Belle's suspicions, and he couldn't be taking advantage of her if she was actually taking advantage of them. Using them to document any evidence she found, a permanent record. Scratching each other's backs, using Ash to do it. Will your dad be back for dinner? Rachel asked, finding something new to say, which meant Belle must have convinced her, covered her own tracks. He normally gets home earlier than this, she said. It's lasagna tonight. Store-bought. Didn't have time to make it, Rachel said, almost guiltily. Do you like lasagna? If Belle had to answer one more time whether she liked something or not, she might just scream. The front door slammed below. Hello? Charlie's voice rang out. Kiddo? Thank God for that. Dad was home, and that was good, because it wasn't really home without him. And that's chapter 18. Oof. So I need to know if Belle has posted her favorite book on her Instagram or not. I need to know if the mom used her Instagram to kind of learn more about her. Chapter 19. Only Fox, CNN, and ABC outside the next day when Belle got home from school. Dwindling, one news channel at a time. If they followed nursery rhyme logic, they'd all be gone by Saturday. Old news. Until something new broke, like Rachel had made it all up. And then they'd all come back scurrying and start the song again. 10 white news vans sitting on the curb. Have fun at dancing, Belle called to Carter as she continued down Milton Street, pulling her hood up to ignore the reporters. Belle scrambled for her keys in her pocket. She didn't realize until she looked up. Dad's truck wasn't here, but neither was Rachel's car. Was Rachel out? Maybe she was still at the Royalty Inn, recording her interview with Ramsey. Belle should have checked the parking lot when they walked past. She unlocked the front door and stepped inside the house, heart picking up, just in case she needed it. Hello? She called out to double check. No one answered. She walked to the living room and tried again. Hello? Dad? Rachel? You here? Hand resting on the banister, looking up. Rachel? Mom? She said just as a test. Mommy, dearest? Crazy. Nothing. Not a sound. She was home alone. She sighed, hand to her chest to slow her heart. She kicked off her shoes and dropped her bag, leaving them where they fell. Rachel kept hiding things away, even though she didn't know where they lived. Putting plates where the bowls lived, mugs where the glasses lived, and Belle's shoe in the hall closet. So Belle would enjoy leaving them right here while Rachel was gone. The house to herself. The house to herself. Belle was an idiot. She hadn't realized what that meant. Not just a chance to leave her shoes in the way, but a chance to search for an answer without Rachel's prying eyes. Rachel had done it first, snooping in Belle's room yesterday. So it was her turn now, a fair and equal retaliation. She might have left something in her room, something real, concrete, that Belle could use to unravel her lies. She'd waited too long already. Rachel could be back any moment. Belle thundered up the stairs, even the creaking one, and hurried over to the spare room door. She grabbed the handle and pushed it open, stepping inside. If there was an invisible barrier here too, it wasn't strong enough to keep her out. The bed was made, almost too neatly, like it was a prop and not a real place where someone slept. Afternoon sun spilled in through the open curtains, capturing the room in a static yellow glow, claiming Belle too as she stepped farther inside, bending to check under the bed. Nothing but dust. To the dresser first. On the top were some new things. A can of deodorant, 2 moisturizers, and a scented candle. Belle pulled open the top drawer. Underwear, bra, and socks. Their haul from H&M. She patted around, checking if Rachel had hidden anything underneath or between, but she felt only fabric. The next drawer had folded tops, old and the new t-shirts Dad had dug out. Skirt and pants and jeans in the one below. Rachel must have been wearing the shirt dress for her interview. Nothing in the drawer at the bottom. Belle turned and caught movement in the corner of her eye. She twisted towards it. A shape, phantom dark, looming there. Belle blinked and let out her breath. It was just a towel, charcoal gray, hanging on the back of the door, still seesawing gently from where she shoved it open. Belle looked beyond, into the hallway, focusing her ears, checking for any sound. The reporters outside should act like an alarm, shouldn't they? Warning her when Rachel returned with their desperate, shouted questions. It was true, but it wasn't much comfort. She felt jumpy, even at the sounds her own body made, screws tightening in her gut. She walked over to the nightstand. There was an iPhone charging cable wrapped around the base of the lamp, plugged in behind. A glass of water on top, at least 2 stale sips left behind. No book, but a folded piece of paper, a pen resting atop at a diagonal to keep it down. Belle moved the pen aside to see what was written there in Rachel's scrawl. To-do list. Choose menu for Friday. Book eye test. Book dentist. Insurance. Annabelle. Belle's eyes circled her own name there, at the bottom of the list, ran her finger across it. Well, what the heck did that mean? Her name has something to be done. Below insurance and dentist. Empty check boxes, so nothing had been completed yet. And what exactly did Rachel mean by that? What was she planning to do to her? A shiver passed up Belle's spine, uncanny and cold, even though the room was warm. She placed the pen back where she found it, and her eye settled on the handle of the nightstand drawer. A place for secrets, where Belle kept hers, and the only place left where they could be. Her fingers pinched the air, closing around the rectangular handle. She pulled it open, the wood grating against its carved grooves. The empty iPhone box was inside, receipt on top. A lip balm. A small packet of Kleenex. That was it. No, that couldn't be it. Bella checked everywhere else in this room. There had to be something. She needed something. The drawer wouldn't pull out any farther, creaking as Belle tried. She slid the iPhone box to the side to check the dark space behind it. Wait. There was something here. Something small and pink, buried right at the back. Belle reached in, closed her fingers around it, tiny and soft. She pulled it out and held it up to the light. Light pink and frilled at the top. It was a baby sock, almost weightless, curled in the palm of her hand. Belle studied it, held it up and let it dangle. She couldn't believe her feet had ever been that tiny, because this was her sock, wasn't it? It had to be, from before Rachel disappeared, but what was it doing here? This drawer had been empty that first night after Rachel reappeared, when Dad set the room up for her. Belle had been here when Dad checked the nightstand, blowing dust from the top. The sock was not there, so how was it there now? There was only one real explanation. Rachel must have brought it with her, put it in the drawer herself, tucked it right at the back, like she was trying to hide it. But how was that even possible? If Rachel had the sock when she reappeared, in her pocket maybe, the police would have taken it into evidence along with the rest of her clothes. But the sock wasn't in evidence. It was right here. Rachel could have stashed it somewhere before they went off with the police. Somewhere inside the house or somewhere in town on the way. She'd had plenty of time in the days since to go collect it, bring it back, and hide it in the drawer. That was the only possibility, unless Dad kept some of Belle's baby things around the house, in the attic maybe, and Rachel went searching when she was home alone. But if Rachel had brought the sock into the house, why was she keeping one of Belle's baby socks? And how long had she kept it? From when she had disappeared? Belle ran her fingers over the tiny sock, examining it. It felt old, thinning and worn, like this wasn't the first time fingers had stroked it, trying to take something from it. Belle couldn't see it any other way, any other origin for this baby sock in her hand. And if that was true, if Rachel had taken a keepsake from Belle the day she disappeared, then that proved it, didn't it? That she knew she was going to disappear? That she'd planned it? Chosen it? You didn't take a souvenir from your baby daughter if you didn't plan to leave forever, abandoning her in the back seat of your car. Deciding in North Conway 3 months ago, the black jeans and red top gave it away, that Rachel had planned her reappearance. And here, this tiny baby sock betrayed the other half of the story. That Rachel had also planned her disappearance. That she'd chosen to go, like Belle had always known deep down. It didn't hurt now, facing the truth. It felt like victory, a small confirmation. Belle cared just enough to keep Belle's sock, but not enough to stay. The sock was proof, still too flimsy for anyone else, but enough for Belle to keep going. To work out why Rachel chose to disappear, then reappear, and what she'd done with those 16 years between, other than hold on to Belle's sock. The knot writhed in her gut, pulling at its strings. Belle closed her fist around the baby sock, locked her fingers under her thumb. Well, why not? It had been hers in the first place, wasn't Rachel's to keep. She took the sock with her, leaving the spare room as she found it. Into her bedroom, no longer quite as safe. Hid the sock in her nightstand instead, buried deep under all those other little secrets. Chapter 20. Letting go of something you love is too hard. Don't know if I'll ever make another documentary. 629 likes. 41 retweets, 11 comments. Belle's eyes lit up. She'd found it. Finally. The tweet that @Director Ramsey Lee posted last October. This must be the one. It was Thursday evening, and she was sitting on her bed, laptop buttressed against her knees, stomach snarling because she hadn't eaten enough at dinner. She clicked onto the comments and scrolled down. Don't give up. I love Snow Dog. It made me cry. And then, have you heard of the Rachel Price case? If you're ready for your next story, it would make a great documentary. Can't believe it hasn't been done already. By a Lucas Ayer. No profile photo. Belle clicked the name. He had 0 followers and followed no one. That tweet had been his first and last, joining Twitter in October 2023, like he'd made the account just to do that. Belle narrowed her eyes, studying Lucas's empty gray face, finding nothing. The laptop jutted in her hands, rattling as an awful sound filled the house, grating and high-pitched, cutting out suddenly. Someone was drilling, upstairs, and it wasn't Dad, because the TV was on down below. The drilling started up again. Belle let her laptop slip off her lap, got up to follow the noise. She opened her door, hesitating in the hallway. Rachel was on her knees outside the spare room door, holding the drill up to the latch hole in the frame, carving out the edges. There was an open box on the floor beside her, a new silver door handle poking out. Door lever handle. Locks both ways, said the box. Rachel stopped the drill and blew at the sawdust. What are you doing? Belle asked. Rachel flinched, her finger pulling the trigger, the drill growling once in response. You scared me, Anna. Belle. Sorry, Belle. But Rachel had scared her more times. Putting a lock on your door? Belle trailed forward, nudging the box with her toe. Yeah. Rachel pulled out the new handle, showing her. There was a switch to turn for the inside, a keyed lock for the outside of the door. I haven't been sleeping very well, she said, rubbing her eyes on her sleeve. I guess it's because I know he's still out there and could be anywhere. The man who took me. Thought it would help me sleep, knowing I can lock myself in. It's worth a try. Belle nodded, like that made sense, avoiding Rachel's eyes. This one locks on the outside, too, she pointed down at the box, with a key. Oh, so it does, Rachel said, like she hadn't noticed until now, returning her attention to the drill, avoiding Belle's eyes, too. She changed the setting and started it up again, removing the screws from the existing door handle, making the house shake once again. Rachel had noticed it was a double-sided lock, though. Hadn't she? That was the reason she'd bought it. It wasn't about being able to sleep. It was about being able to lock the room when she wasn't here, to keep intruders out. She must have known Belle had been in her room yesterday, and that she'd taken back her pink baby sock. Did Rachel now know that Belle knew she was lying? Or at least that she suspected it? Belle didn't want to hang around to find out. She backtracked to the stairs and hurried down. Dad was in his chair, beer in one hand as he watched baseball reruns, the volume on high. Belle paused at the back of his chair, wanting to be close to him without him knowing. Pretend like it was just the two of them again, without the shifts and distances Rachel had created. "You got back late today," she said. "Missed dinner." He took a sip. "Work was busy," his eyes on the TV. "And yesterday?" Belle leaned over and gave him a hug, arms around his warm neck, face squished against the back of his head. She'd have to let go soon, before he asked what was wrong, but she didn't want to. He was avoiding the house, working later and later every day. Soon he might just stop coming home at all. Belle knew why. They all knew why, and she wouldn't let that happen. "Work is busy," he said. "I can't help it." No, he couldn't, but Belle could. Dad didn't need to be the one who worried, for once. Belle could do the worrying. The fixing, the planning. Rachel had only been back 5 days, and she was pushing him away. Belle could sense it. Dad said he believed Rachel's story, every word. But there was no doubt that her return had changed something for him. Part of Belle had known, in the instant she saw his face when he realized Rachel was back, that it would come down to a choice, one or the other. Now she knew they couldn't exist in this house together, and for Belle it wasn't a choice at all. That was why she had to fight. Find proof that Rachel Price was a liar, and get rid of her before she got rid of Dad. "Okay, kiddo?" Charlie said, tapping her arm until she let go. "What's she doing?" He meant Rachel. "Fitting a lock on the spare room door." "Okay," he said. Was that all? So calm, like he didn't even know he was part of this war. Belle sat on the sofa, the side closest to him. "Someone left the window open down here last night," he said. "I don't know if it was you or her." Belle didn't either. "Sorry," she said, just in case. "Hey, Dad." "Hey, Belle." He saluted his beer at her. "Have you got any of the stuff from when I was a baby? Toys or clothes? Are they up in the attic?" "No." His eyes tracked the baseball. "Don't have anything like that. Gave it all to Goodwill or to Sherry and Jeff or Carter. Why?" "Oh, nothing. Film crew was asking if we had any." She lied easily, even though it was Dad, and she didn't do that to him. He grunted, taking another swig of his beer. The drill started up again, shuddering and growling, building to a high-pitched rattle of a scream. Dad grabbed the remote, turning the volume up, and again, both getting louder. One in each of Belle's ears. Commenters bellowing over the screech of a drill. Up and up, pushing and pushing. That is chapter 20. I don't like where this is going at all. So I guess we're getting confirmation that it seems like Belle herself thinks that they can't coexist together. One, I don't like that the dad is having to work more. I feel like to me that only emphasizes that maybe they had a rocky marriage. Maybe, and it wasn't like as good as it was, you know? And like there's just so much. I'm also worried because like the dad is drinking a beer, but have we seen him drink before? I genuinely can't remember, and it makes me worried that like, you know, maybe he drinks to cope or something. And I'm almost wondering if he had an argument with Belle's mom at some point while, you know, with them fighting over stuff. And I'm almost curious if he told her like, you know, while he was drunk, just being like, "I can't stand you, this, not whatever. Like, I wish you would go away. I wish you would disappear." And Belle's mom was like, "Okay, bet. Watch this." And just like disappeared, you know? I don't know. Cause you know how like in movies or shows or whatever, like even in books, people will be like, "You'll never see me again." Like I'm wondering if there was possibly an altercation. But he was so mad at her for whatever reason that he just didn't want her to come home. I genuinely have no idea. But yeah, that's chapter 20. This family is genuinely being ripped apart. And I am concerned for, I guess, Belle's mental health in this situation. Because, I mean, I'm concerned for all of them because that's going to be terrible. And they still have to film this documentary and stuff, and I think something's gonna blow up at this family dinner and it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, that is where we're gonna be leaving off for today. Let me know if you guys have any more theories and stuff. This is getting crazy. I can't believe we literally hit so many of the theories that we literally talked about at the beginning of the episode. That we're already maybe proven or disproven, or maybe we're inching towards. It's crazy. But yeah, join us next time for book club. And yeah, I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out.